So, you're thinking about moving to Foley, Alabama. And one of the biggest questions you probably have is, how much does it actually cost to live here? Because maybe you've heard that it's affordable. Maybe you've seen home prices that look lower than what you're used to. Or maybe you're just trying to figure out if your current income or budget will actually make sense here. And here's the reality. The cost of living in Foley can feel very different depending on where you're moving from and what kind of lifestyle you're planning to have. For some people, it feels significantly more affordable. And for others, certain costs end up being higher than they expected. So in this video, I'm going to break down what it really costs to live in Foley, Alabama, from housing and utilities to groceries, transportation, and everyday lifestyle expenses. And by the end of this video, you should have a much clearer idea of what your monthly life could realistically look like here. But first, if this is your first time on the channel, I'm glad you're here. I'm Miranda Baldridge with Advantage Real Estate, your local go-to realtor and community connector right here in Baldwin County, Alabama. I help people who are relocating to Foley, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, and Robertsdale, and the surrounding areas find the right home and make their move here as smooth as possible. And I talk to a lot of people every week who are trying to figure out if moving to this area makes sense financially before they actually make that decision. So if that's something you're thinking about, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I share a lot of videos about what it's really like living here and what you should know before you move. And if you ever have questions about homes or the market, feel free to reach out anytime. All right, let's break down the real cost of living in Foley. The biggest factor in your cost of living is going to be housing. And this is usually where people notice the biggest difference when they move here. In Foley, a lot of buyers are typically looking somewhere in the range of about $320 to $450 for a single family home, depending on the size, location, and whether it's newer construction. You can still find options below that range, especially if you're open to smaller homes or older properties. And on the higher end, there are definitely homes above that range as well, especially in newer communities or with more upgrades. And if you're coming from a larger metro area, many people feel like they can get significantly more space for their budget here. And for renters, you'll usually see rental prices somewhere around $1,400 to $2,800 per month, depending on the type of property and the location. When it comes to utilities, this is something people sometimes underestimate. In Foley, most households will typically spend somewhere around $150 to $300 a month on electricity, sometimes more. And it can definitely go higher during the summer months when the air conditioning is running constantly because it's hot here. Water, sewer, and trash services are usually more affordable, often falling somewhere in the range of about $50 to $100 per month. So overall, many households end up somewhere in the range of about $200 to $400 or more per month on utilities, depending on usage and home size. For groceries, most people find themselves spending somewhere around $400 to $800 per month, depending on household size and your habits. If you're dining out regularly, that number can go up pretty quickly. A typical meal at a casual restaurant might run around $12 to $20 per person, while nicer waterfront dining can easily be higher. So this category really depends on your lifestyle and how often you eat out. Transportation costs can vary, but most people are spending somewhere around $800 to $900 per month when you factor in gas, insurance, and maintenance. Gas prices are usually pretty reasonable here compared to the national averages, but since you'll be driving regularly, it still adds up over time. Another category people don't always think about right away is internet and cell phone service. For most households, internet service will typically run somewhere around $60 to $100 a month, depending on the provider and the speed you choose. For cell phones, most people are usually paying somewhere in the range of about $80 to $150 per person per month, depending on the plan and the carrier. So combined, that's usually another $150 to $300 or more per month that goes towards everyday living expenses. Health-related costs are another important factor, especially if you're relocating from a job that previously covered part of your insurance. Health insurance can vary a lot depending on your situation, but many individuals or families can expect to pay anywhere from $300 to $800 or more per month, depending on the coverage and, again, household size. Out-of-pocket expenses like doctor visits, prescription prescriptions, and other healthcare needs can also add to that cost. So this is definitely something to plan for ahead of time when thinking about your overall budget. When it comes to fitness costs, those can vary depending on what you like to do. A typical gym membership in the area might run somewhere around $30 to $125 per month, depending on the gym and the amenities offered. There are also more specialized options like boutique fitness studios, classes, or personal training, all of which increases that cost. At the same time, one of the advantages of living in this area is that a lot of outdoor activities are either free or low cost. So many people balance things out by spending time outside instead of paying for multiple memberships. If you have young children, childcare is definitely something to factor into your monthly cost of living as well. Daycare costs in the area can vary, but many are typically paying somewhere in the range of about $600 to $1,200 per month per child, depending on the facility and the level of care. And for some, this can be one of the biggest monthly expenses outside of housing. So if childcare is part of your situation, it's definitely something to plan for when considering your move. Property taxes are one of the other areas that people often see a big advantage. In many cases, property taxes in Baldwin County are among the lowest in the nation. For many homeowners, that can translate to somewhere around $1,000 to $2,500 per year, depending on the property, which is a big difference compared to those higher tax states. Lifestyle is where things can vary also. If you're someone who enjoys simple things like going to the beach, walking outdoors, and keeping things low key, your cost here can stay relatively low. But if you're going out often, you're boating, or you're fully embracing the coastal lifestyle, you could easily spend anywhere from $200 or $1,000 or more per month on dining, entertainment, and activities. So when you put everything together, what does it actually look like on a monthly basis? A realistic monthly cost for someone living in Foley might look something like this. Housing, around $1,500 to $2,500 per month. Utilities, $200 to $400 or more. Transportation, $300 to $800 or more. Groceries, $400 to $800 or more per month. Internet and cell phone, $150 to $300 or more per month. Health insurance, $300 to $800 or more per month. Lifestyle and dining could be $200 to $1,000 or more per month. And if it applies to you, childcare, $600 to $1,200 or more per month per child. So when you add everything up, most people end up somewhere in the range of about $3,000 to $6,500 or more per month, depending on their lifestyle, housing choices, and their personal situation. So is Foley, Alabama affordable? For a lot of people, the answer is yes, especially if you're moving from a higher cost area. But like anywhere, it really comes down to your personal situation, your budget, and the type of lifestyle you want to have. And if you're thinking about moving to Foley, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, or anywhere in Baldwin County, feel free to reach out to me. I help people relocate to this area all the time, and I'd be happy to help you understand what your budget could look like being here and what options might make the most sense for you. You can call, text, or email me anytime. All of my contact information is in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, make sure that you subscribe to the channel because I share a lot of videos about what it's really like living here along the Alabama Gulf Coast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.